Let's go over this extra practice with two-way tables and independence. So first, we have yet another two-way table that has two variables, the gender, and then the type of vehicle, whether that's a sports utility vehicle or a sports car. All right, so you were first thinking, what's the explanatory? And so I can tell that gender would be the thing that I would anticipate affecting the type of car I had. Certainly, type of car is not the thing affecting your gender. Okay. So, with this being our explanatory variable, then of course, over here are our denominators. So, that's the way we do our fractions. And you can see down here, I went ahead and I had to make myself a table. So, see, I've kind of taken that away from you. I've been kind of weaning you off of giving you those things. And this is one less thing now that I'm not giving you. You have to say, oh, I need to organize my percentages. So then you made your own table. So that 21 over 60 was 35%, and so on. And then we did 39 over 60 for the males. Then for the females, 135 over 180, 45 over 180, and so on. And so then remember the area where the denominators were. So this is the section that won't have any numbers in it, but you have got to have some totals because that's the marginal that we are comparing the conditional to. So here we have the 156 over 240 and 84 over 240. So there's that. So then, when we compare, we're going to be comparing these two marginal ones to, those male and female conditional upon you being a male and female, and then overall. Overall, 65% of people own SUVs out of this sample, and 75%. But yet 75% of the females own SUVs and only 35% of the males own SUVs. Okay? Now, of the 35% overall who own sports cars, it's split differently amongst the genders. 65% of males, but only 25% of females own sports cars. All right, so clearly your gender is having an impact on the type of car that you are choosing to drive. So, not independent of each other. The fact that you are male or female is certainly affecting the rate at which you drive an SUV or a sports car. For example, and so then I give something for each one of these categories. Females own SUVs at a much higher rate, and uh, because there's only two categories, male and female, I am allowed to compare them to themselves instead of the overall. Okay? So I compared the SUV for females and males, 75 for females, 35 for males. Males own sports cars at a much higher rate, 65 for males, 25 for females. All right. So that was my statistical support. Now, this next one is very interesting. Let's take a look at it. It is something that I'm giving you something in a different way than you have ever seen it before. So it's very interesting. So take a look. In this case, we are actually told the statement that gender and the type of diploma you get are independent variables. That means the fact that you are a male or female not changing the rate at which you get a diploma. Okay, so those are going to be the same rates. So that is how we're going to be able to fill in the missing numbers on this table. So here we go. So again, but what we do need to make sure we're doing, okay, we still deal with explanatory variable. What's our explanatory? It's going to be gender. So I know that 220 is going to be my denominator for the males. Okay, so what was given to me was this, 33 over 220. So I'm going to see what rate that is. So 33 over 220, 15% of males get a high school diploma. And because of independence, that means this: 15% of the females will get a diploma. So that's how I'm able to fill in this one, 15% of 160. Of course, that's 0.15 times 160 to get 24 females. All right. Next, see, I would have had this here. So this I can say, okay, 66 divided by 220. So 30% of males, 30% of males get a master's degree. And so then I can say, okay, well, then that means 30% of the 160 females will get a master's or a PhD. So 0.3 times 160 is 48. Okay. Now, FYI, I was able to get this 160 because I had the overall total and I had the total for males. So I could get that 160 that was missing. All right. So at this point, I have told you how to get these ones here. So we have talked about how to fill in all of those. So let's see what's left. I guess also, if I have, so that also, I could, at this point, you might be able to just go ahead and fill in some blanks. For example, if I have these two, then I could probably get that total. If I have these two, then I can get that total. And then I could figure out what this total is by subtracting. Okay? And once I have that, then I know that's 88 and I can. So see, once you get some of them filled in, then you can just kind of add or subtract and such for the rest. But the key was that really interesting independence, meaning they had the same rate. All right, next. This was a table where I then did not give you another table to do, and I just said straight up, what's the marginal? Well, this was the numbers that had to do with the Titanic again. And this was the explanatory. So our denominators were over here. So marginal is the total. That means this is where I discuss the marginal. And that's the overall who died and the overall who survived. So that's what I list there. And then the conditional is going to be from this section here. Conditional upon you being first, second, third, or crew, then I list the died and survived percentages. So here we go. Here's what that, oh, look at that. That's a bunch of stuff right there. So then I just kind of ended up, other than this little piece right here, where I can fill in, all those then are the conditional, because this one down here that I had was the overall. So there we go. So we can see, let's look at how I did the numbers. Okay. So for first class, it was the 120 out of 322 died. 202 out of 322 survived. And you know what? I think these are the same numbers that we had on an assignment earlier, so you could probably just pull those back. So remember that we compare to overall. Overall, 68% died. How did these fare compared to that? Overall, 31% lived, or 32% lived. How did these fare compared to that? So then we make our statement, which this is a redundant one, a redundant assignment. I think it might be one like you've already done before. So here we say that the class and survival, they are not independent. The fact that you are first, second, or third class or crew affects your rate of survival. A lower survival or lower death rate in first and second class, and then I put the numbers. I put only 37% in first class, 58% in second class, while 68% overall died. And then there was a higher percent of third class and crew who died. 75% for third, 76% for crew, and overall 68% died. Okay? And I think that's it. Then tomorrow we'll go on to this new kind of graph, very new, called mosaic plots.